How you doing, everyone, and welcome to the debut edition of the Daily Line, where we give you insider tips and information to help you make the most of your bets each and every week. Michael Jenkins here in the NBC Sports Washington studios, and we welcome in my good friend all the way out in Sin City. You can catch him each week on VSiN Live on Sirius XM Radio. It is Sam Panayotovich. Sammy P, how are you, brother?
I'm ready. New week, a new chance to make some money. Let's do it.
Let's do it. We start with our opening lines this week here on the show, beginning with the Redskins hosting Carolina. Washington, the slight 1-point favorite at home. The money line has the Redskins at -120, while the Panthers are even money. The over-under this week set at 45. Both teams thus far 2-2 against the spread. Redskins coming off that ugly loss Monday night in New Orleans, and they've got a short week to get ready for this game. Sam, should they be the favorite?
Oh, of course they should. The Redskins are the ultimate zig and zag team in the NFL. Week 1, they crushed Arizona. Then in Week 2, they lay an egg at home against Indianapolis. Then they beat the Packers, and against the Saints, they never really had a shot after that first quarter. But let's look at how these two teams finished. The last game for the Redskins, they get embarrassed by the Saints on Drew Brees night. And the Panthers, what do we remember? We remember what we last saw. Graham Gano hit a 63-yard field goal. Panthers good, Redskins bad. The NFL is not that easy. The Redskins are going to win this game. I would lay the 1 or lay the money line. I like Washington a lot in this spot.
Sam, the public actually likes Carolina here. At what point is the public sentiment so overwhelming that you start looking the other way, maybe?
Well, I don't know about looking the other way just to strictly fade the public, but I really do like Washington at home, and I think bouncing back is premium for them in this spot. And let's remember, against New Orleans, there was a spot early in that game when they stopped the Saints not once, but twice on third down, flag, and those things are coachable. Maybe those players should be cut, wink, wink. Those things can be ironed out by coaching. They were in that game until they committed those 2 penalties, and I think if you iron those things out and play a more disciplined football game, you'll beat the Panthers.
Let's go from the turf to the ice. The Capitals off to a great start and a high-scoring start to their season as they defend that Stanley Cup here in D.C. They've scored an incredible 18 goals in their first 3 games. In fact, they have covered the over by themselves in both of their games this past week. Meantime, Alexander Ovechkin chasing yet another scoring title, 4 goals and an assist in his first 3 games. Capitals have yet another early season test on Saturday night, hosting the Maple Leafs, who are currently one of the co-favorites to win the Stanley Cup. Toronto sitting at 8-1, along with Tampa Bay. As recently as Wednesday, Washington was 14-1 to win the Cup again, but in the last 48 hours alone, those odds have improved all the way to 10-1. So a clash of the Titans on Saturday night at Capital One Arena. Coverage starts here on NBC Sports Washington at 6 p.m. Caps are the favorite at -140. What do you think of this one, Sam?
I like the Caps in this spot here. At home, it's tough to go against them, and there is no way I would advocate for under. This line is going to be 6.5. And defense, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's optional in this game because these two teams, they fly up and down the ice. I would look at Washington here to win this game. I think Toronto's a good, solid team, but until they can win on the road, we've seen them struggle already in a couple different spots. I like Washington here. I think -140 is a little cheap price, and I would lay the lumber with the Capitals.
Sharps usually believe they can exploit the book when it comes to hockey. What should you be looking at when you bet the National Hockey League?
Well, you've got to be aware of the spot. Some teams play 3 games in 4 nights. Some teams are good at home, bad on the road. And always pay attention. Backup goaltenders. Backup goaltenders get crucified when they don't have defenses. I don't need to tell you, the blue line may be an issue for the Caps this year. Until they shore those things up, I would not be looking to play many backup goaltenders when Washington's on the ice. You always have to know which goalie's in net, and you can find these things out. You follow the beat writers on Twitter. You can always find information. This is the age we live in. You can always find these things out.
Yeah, that's really great advice. Now, an interesting prop bet for Saturday's game. Who will score more points, Evgeny Kuznetsov or Austin Matthews? Kuzi +115, Matthews -125. And both players, Sam, off to great starts.
Kuzi, I like that nickname. I hadn't heard Kuzi yet, but I do like it. Let's take the plus price on Kuzi because Austin Matthews, this is the one guy you have to key on if you're Washington. You got to erase him from the equation. And if Tavares has a good game, maybe Matthews doesn't. I like the plus price. I don't like to lay 125 in matchups. That's a bad recipe going forward. And if you do that, if you're always laying 125 in a prop, it's going to come back to bite you. A plus price on a guy who's been scoring just as much. Give me Kuzi, +115.
Yeah, Kuzi becoming one of those elite players in the NHL. He's been fun to watch thus far. Let's move to the Wizards, who open their season next week. against Miami. They were busy this offseason, trading Mark Zaner to the Clips for Austin Rivers. They also drafted Troy Brown while adding the former Georgetown alum Jeff Green. But most importantly, they signed Dwight Howard. So the Wizards have a solid starting five and a deeper bench than in years past. But despite improving in the offseason, Wizards still 100-1 to win it all. Why haven't the odds gotten better, and should they be better, Sam?
Because the Golden State Warriors or the Boston Celtics or the Houston Rockets are going to win the title. We still know that those three teams are still there. Look, Washington's going to be a buy-on team for a lot of people. I know we'll talk about the win total in just a second. But until John Wall can prove that he can give you about 75, 80 games, stay healthy, and lead this team, the perception on them is going to be that they're frauds and not contenders. But 100-1, look, I'm not going to suggest you play it. If you're a Wizards fan, put $10 on it, hope for the best. But this is not a title team yet. They're building and building and building. Scott Brooks, is he a championship-winning coach? I don't know. But I do think this team is going to be a buy-on team, and you'll be able to bet on them in a lot of spots during the season.
Yeah, they're a deeper team, but not quite deep enough, I don't think. Okay, so the odds to win the title, not great with the Warriors, the overwhelming favorites. But in the Southeast Division, the Wizards are the favorites. Their over-under win total set at 45.5. That a bit low?
No, it's not a bit low. In fact, I mean, they didn't win that many last year, but again, Wall missed half the season. Look at where this number opened up. Now it's 45.5. It opened at 44. So if you're a Wizards fan, that's good. Being bet up a win and a half is usually a good recipe. If they're healthy, if Dwight Howard can stay healthy, if John Wall can stay healthy, this team could win 50 games. I agree with the move here in Vegas. When it opens at 44 and right away it gets popped up to 45.5, that means big, big money being bet on the Wizards over, and I certainly agree with the move.
Okay, in order for the Wiz to be successful, John Wall must be healthy and play like a superstar. And he said his goal this season is to be the league MVP. Still, Vegas odd makers don't think he has much of a chance. Wall currently sitting at 75-1 to win MVP. That's 16th best odds in the league. With value like that, would you take a shot on Wall here?
Yeah, put $5 on it. Why not? Like I said, this is usually an award that's predicated on team success. And if they can win 50 games, 55 games, and crack the top three in the East, he'll get some votes for sure, but he's going to have to average around a triple-double, probably score 25 points a game. I don't know that he's going to do all that, but if he has a really good season and the Wizards play well, he's certainly a candidate. My money would be on a guy in Boston, Kyrie Irving, who's healthy, who's been looking great. He's about 15-1 right now, and we know the king is no longer in the East. And that guy, LeBron James, as well as he plays, that team is not going to be a top 4 seed in the West. LeBron won't win the MVP, so there's room for somebody else to elevate. And in the Eastern Conference, Celtics might be winning 60 or 65 games, and their best player is Kyrie Irving. If the Celtics lock in number 1 or number 2 seed in the East, Kyrie Irving will get a lot of votes in the market, and he's a good bet at 15-1.
Okay, LeBron obviously the favorite. Anthony Davis currently second. Outside of those guys and Kyrie, anyone else you would look at for MVP?
Russell Westbrook. I mean, the guy's like the Energizer Buddy. He's a guy he's a stat patter too. Let's be real about it. He knows his numbers all the time. He can get you 30 a night. He's a disher. He can rebound as well. People love to vote for stats, and there's no better stat patter in the NBA than Russell Westbrook. So if I had to make like power ratings on it, I'd put Kyrie 1, Westbrook 2, Wall maybe like 5th or 6th.
We're already off to a great start and much more on the way here on the Daily Line. A few states have already legalized sports gambling, as you know. So I took a road trip to West Virginia to find out what one of the area's newest sports books had to offer. Plus, several NFL and college teams had bad games this past weekend, which is affecting their odds for this week. And that could make for some very good bets. Sam will take you behind the book when we come back. Welcome back to the Daily Line. I am Michael Jenkins. This past May, the Supreme Court struck down a 1992 law that banned commercial sports gambling outside of Nevada. Now, for the first time, states can decide on their own whether or not they want to legalize sports gambling. The issue is currently being debated in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. But in West Virginia, casinos are already taking sports bets legally. So we decided to take a road trip and see what we could do. Look at this. We made it to Charlestown, West Virginia, one of the great places in this area that you can place a sports bet, and we're going to show you just how easy it is. Let's go. All right, so I've made my decision. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to place a couple of bets, a couple of $20 bets. For Monday Night Football, I'm going to bet the halftime line. Chiefs and Broncos. Chiefs are favored by 3 points at the half. I'm going to go with Chiefs, even though everybody here says take the Broncos because their defense is good. Whatever. I'm sticking with the Chiefs. Then I'm going to bet on NBA preseason, which I can't believe I'm doing. Wizards are playing tonight, -7 against the Knicks at home. How do you bet on the preseason? I just feel like 7 points is a lot in the preseason, so I'm going to go with the Knicks +7 at Capital One Arena and go up here and place my bets.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to place a couple of $20 bets. I'm going to go 703 against the spread, $20. And then first half, 1277 against the spread, $20 as well. Appreciate it. Thank you. Nice and easy. I'm accustomed to betting on football. And in football, the game moves at a bit of a slower pace as far as scoring goes, so you can get a bit of a better feel early on. With basketball, the Knicks +7, which is my bet tonight, means nothing. They're up by 3 in the first quarter. The Wizards could go on a 15-0 run in the third quarter, even the fourth quarter. So you really have to wait until late in the game to figure out what's going to happen. I'm not feeling as good about this bet as I was a few minutes ago. Could I get a Tito's and Cran? Washington leads by 5 at the half, which means technically I'm up by 2. But these are the Knicks we're talking about. So we'll see what happens in the second half. For now, I'm going to turn my attention to football, and the Broncos have a 3-point lead. Go! Go!
Get it, man, go! Get it up.
Yes! Touchdown Chiefs. The problem with this Wizards-Knicks game is that it looks good right now. I've got the Knicks +7. But now I risk it going to overtime and then having to play this game all over again for another 5 minutes, and I don't want that. The Wizards can win, that would be awesome. I just need the Knicks to cover. I just don't want to tie. God! That's not good for me. Where were you when the Wizards and Knicks went to quadruple overtime in the preseason? I wish the waitress would come around one more time. One more time. You see Andy Reid and his walrus mustache arguing that wasn't a first down, and I agree. It's at a yard short. So that potentially could put the Broncos in field goal position. Maybe the Chiefs get it back. Maybe they tie it up. A couple of Mahomes passes, probably not. There it is. There it is. All right. Needed that one. That's a loss. This is a win.
We got 20, 35, 6, 7, 8.
Quiet, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
20 cents.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Have a good one, y'all.
I've had better nights at the sports book, but I've definitely had worse nights. Pretty great way to spend your Monday evening, and the good news is, despite one loss, I'll definitely be back. That was a great trip to West Virginia, and we already have our next trip marked down on the calendar. Okay, let's welcome back Sam Panayotovich from Las Vegas. Each week, Sam and I are going to go behind the book. We'll introduce you to gambling terms and strategies to help you feel more comfortable placing bets, and hopefully it helps you win. Today, we're talking about how bettors can overreact to one bad game and how that affects future lines involving those teams. In other words, perception versus reality. Sam, Michigan State was a victim of that this past weekend.
Oh, absolutely. They go home, they're laying 10 in Northwestern, and they played an absolute dud. But guess what? All that means is we get the Spartans in a spot that they relish in, an underdog, especially a double-digit underdog. There is not a better bounce-back coach in the country in the Big Ten, in my opinion, in the last 5 years than Mark Zaner. They're getting 13.5 in Happy Valley. If they beat Northwestern, this line is 6 or 7. But because they look poor and everybody watched it, nobody wants to go on Michigan State. 13.5 points for Mark Zaner in a spot where his team's going to play ticked off against Penn State. Yeah, they look good against Ohio State. They've been beating some inferior teams, but we're getting that many points on the road with Michigan State. This is an ultimate buy low spot on a team that knows how to cover as an underdog. 13.5 is way too many points for Sparty.
So there's always a lot of money that comes in on Notre Dame. Everyone watched the Irish dominate Virginia Tech on the road last week. All of a sudden, the Irish 21-point favorites against Pitt.
Oh, that's way too high. To ask Notre Dame to win by that much on a week-to-week basis, it's a lot to ask. And remember, Jenksy, before the season, we talked about all that they lost. Adams, 2 guys on the line, 3 receivers of the draft. They didn't have the offense. But here, all of a sudden, here we are, 8-1 to win the national championship, laying 21 points to a team in Pittsburgh that is a little bit chippy. They play good defense. I like Pittsburgh to hang in this game. Of course they can. Notre Dame, they don't care about covering, winning by 21 or more. All they have to do is win, survive, and advance. So for them, covering 21 doesn't matter. That's a lot of points. If I were to make this line before the season, it'd be about 12 or 13. But because of the perception on Notre Dame, and now they might be a title team, you're paying a premium on Notre Dame at home, and I am not laying 21. That is way too high.
Now, this is a very fascinating one to me. Green Bay lost to Detroit on Sunday. They get the Niners on Monday night. Packers favored by 9.5 in this one. What's going on with that line?
Well, if you read the papers in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy are going to kill each other, right? I mean, that's the perception out of Green Bay. Rodgers banged up, offense banged up. But San Francisco is coming in with a backup quarterback, a third-string running back, and a really, really struggling defense right now. We saw Green Bay, remember, after they lost before Buffalo, what's going on in Green Bay? And then they win 22-0 against a bad football team in the Buffalo Bills. This is another bad football team going into Lambeau Field on a Monday night. Who do you like, C.J. Beathard or Aaron Rodgers? We could look up in the first quarter. It could be 14-0 Packers. And with that quarterback running around for his life, it could get even uglier. I think the Packers roll, but if you ask people around the country, especially in Green Bay, the sky is starting to fall. If that's the case, I want the Packers -9, -9.5.
So if you have something off the field like a head coach bickering with his quarterback, can that really affect the line here?
It wouldn't affect the line, but it's just a performance by Green Bay. But if you look at the statistics, though, Jenks, pull up the box score, Packers and Lions. Packers outgained them by like 200 yards. They had way more first downs. They did everything right except for win the game where it matters on the scoreboard. So the Lions got ahead. They almost blew the game. We almost pay more attention to the Packers losing and falling behind early than we do to them rallying late and making it a football game. But again, this is a strict play on Green Bay at home in Lambeau, getting right at home in Lambeau Field. C.J. Beathard's never played in Lambeau Field. He doesn't know what it's like to go there and play and win. This is a bad spot for San Francisco. I don't care if Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers are going to box at halftime. As long as Rodgers is under center and they're facing San Francisco with a depleted offense, I will lay any number possible.
Yeah, it's a good tip ahead of Monday night. When we come back here on the Daily Line, some predictions for the weekend as I try to go head-to-head with Sam. We'll see how that goes when we come back.
Hey everyone, Josh Norris of Roto-World here to outline the 3 must-plays of this daily fantasy slate. Let's start with Julio Jones. I know, somewhat of an obvious name, but he's the wide receiver 6 in salary, and his dip in price is because he hasn't scored a touchdown in his last 62 receptions. That will change in this game against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Let's move on to Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is the running back 8 in salary, and Joe Mixon is someone that we can expect to get 20, 25, maybe more than that touches. That's the same amount that we'll see the top 1, 2, or 3 priced running back. So running back 8 is a great value. I know that Pittsburgh is really doing a great job of stopping the run and stopping yardage out of the backfield, but that's good because Joe Mixon is also a quality receiver, and he caught a touchdown pass last week. And let's close it out with Jameis Winston, the quarterback 15 in salary. Again, he faces the Atlanta Falcons defense that has allowed the quarterback 7, quarterback 1, quarterback 9, and quarterback 5 performances over the last 4 games. It is Jameis Winston's first start, and that's why he is so low priced. And the Falcons are actually the first team to allow 37 or more points in 3 straight games since the Oakland Raiders in 2012. So be sure to get Jameis Winston in your DFS lineups.
Thanks to Josh Norris for giving us his fantasy input this week. But if you're looking for some perspective from the streets, we check in with Travie 2 times.
Travie 2 times here to give you my locks of the week in college and pro football. I'm going to help you get the papers. You know, fettuccine, Gouda, cheddar. Forget about it. The only thing better than 1 upset special is 2 upset specials. In college, take LSU at home in the Bayou to cover against the Georgia Bulldogs at +7. That's just too much wood for a good team like LSU. Remember, they know voodoo. In the NFL, I can't believe Sam Darnold, the rookie QB, and the Jets are favored over Andrew Luck and the Colts. Take the Colts on the road plus 2.5 to ground the Jets. East Rutherford, we have a problem. Over. Take these plays to the window, tell them 2 times sent you, and you'll be counting fat stacks in no time. Bands will make me dance. Bands will make me dance.
Let's move on to Sharps versus Squares. Sam and I will make some predictions for the upcoming week. If you want to weigh in, share your predictions, find us on NBC Sports Washington at our Facebook page or NBCS Washington on Twitter. Sam and I will keep track of how we do throughout the season. We start in the college ranks. It's game number 1, Sam. Wisconsin getting 8.5 points on the road at Michigan. Wisconsin upset by BYU last month. Looks like everyone has forgotten how good they can be.
Oh, absolutely. You look at what this line has done. The Sharps are actually on Michigan here. This line opened up at 7, and we could see some 10s by kickoff. But guess what? I don't care because Wisconsin, in their last 33 games in the Big Ten, they have not lost by more than 7. I want all the points, 8.5, 9, 9.5, 10, whatever it is. I want Wisconsin here. Last 11 meetings, Badgers are 9-1-1 against the number, and in their last 16 road games, 13-3 against the number. I get it. Michigan has a good defense. Who have they beaten? Western Michigan, SMU, Nebraska, Northwestern, meow. Give me a break. Wisconsin can play. Jonathan Taylor's going to have 2 touchdowns on the ground. And if Hornibrook can make a couple throws down the field, Wisconsin has a chance of hanging this game all the way. Give me the Badgers plus the points.
Completely agree here. 8.5 is way too many. Wisconsin, many people forget, a national title contender before the season. They have everyone back on their offensive line. I think they can run the ball on Michigan. I like the Badgers and the points. To the ACC, Duke was ranked a couple of weeks ago. Now they are 3-point dogs at Georgia Tech. I'll start off here, Sam, because I know you don't want me piggybacking on everything you say. I actually like Duke plus the 3. They've already faced 2 triple option teams this season. I think that makes them ready for the Yellow Jackets.
Heads up, 7 up, brother. Give me Georgia Tech here. A lot of the sharpest money in town so far on the Jackets. Opened up at 2. Now we're about 2.5 or 3, depending on where you shop. And always shop around for the best number. If you can find 2.5 with Georgia Tech, lay it. They got right. They beat the snot out of Louisville. And yes, Duke has seen a couple triple option teams, but not one this good. Give me Georgia Tech.
Bears off a bye week. Dolphins losers of 2 straight. You're not looking at the line here, but the over-under currently set at 42.5.
Mitch Trubisky is going to struggle here. Bears' best defense in football. He threw 6 touchdowns in his last game. Over. Give me under 42.5.
I'm with you here. Bears defense alone, I think, makes this the under. Finally, this is a game I know you like here. Kansas City getting 3.5 on the road at New England, taking on Tom Brady for the 2nd time this season already.
Can't believe it's unpopular to play this. Give me the Patriots. Big. Sunday night, Foxborough. Eventually, that balloon is going to pop. Chiefs have covered every single game, but this kid has never faced Tom Brady in prime time. And the Patriots getting healthy. Gronk can't be doubled anymore. You've got Gordon. You've got Edelman. Patriots big.
Yeah, revenge spot for the Patriots. Plus, Josh Gordon is on this team now, and their defense has improved. I'm with you on the Patriots. And with that, we're out of time for this edition of The Daily Line. For Sam Panayotovich in Las Vegas, I'm Michael Jenkins in D.C. Good luck to all of you on the bets you make this week, and thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.